Well, it's time now to get a look at today's French newspapers on this final day of election campaigning. And Kyle Brown's here to take us through them. Hello, Kyle.
Good morning.
So, as we've said, just 2 days to go, really, until people go to the polls. 1 day of campaigning left, and a slight move in the latest opinion polls.
That's right. 2 days to go. Two themes, really. On the one hand, we've got a kind of narrowing of the polls with Hollande leading, but by 1 point less. It's been narrowing for the past couple of weeks. But we also see a story about Bayrou. So I'll get to that in a second. But that's the other big story today in the French papers, is that Bayrou, major centrist political candidate, has thrown his weight behind François Hollande. So a bit of good news, bad news, really, for the socialists. Now, the Parisien goes on to say that, on the one hand, yes, it's narrowed to 5%, percentage points, that is to say. But on the other, he's still got a comfortable lead. And they cite the director of the BVA Opinion, the pollsters who conducted this poll. They say that it's been sliding just gently for the past couple of weeks, and that Sarkozy basically is now, though, he's faced with kind of two opponents. We're going to see perhaps in a moment a comic, really, where we see Nicolas Sarkozy opposite not only François Hollande now, but François Bayrou. Now, just to take a second, really, to explain that Bayrou, he's the leader of the party known as Modem, centrist party. They got about 9% in the first round, so quite a few votes to be picked up, really, in the second round here. And what happened was Bayrou was disenchanted, really, with the drift to the far right of the UMP, Nicolas Sarkozy's party. He doesn't like the fact that they've been pursuing the far right, the Front National of Marine Le Pen, who got an historic vote in the first round. So now we're going to see a kind of a chase for the votes in the remaining days. Big announcement by Bayrou to say, actually, and it was long awaited, he left it until last night. And so an interesting thing about that poll is that it was conducted after the debate that we saw on Wednesday night between Sarkozy and Hollande, but was conducted before Bayrou made his big decision. So not yet the final say by any means. The numbers could change, as we'll see in Libération.
Okay, and that is quite a historic decision, isn't it, for a centrist party leader to take, to throw their weight behind François Hollande?
Well, Libération says it's a very drastic, or he quotes, rather, Libération quotes Bayrou as saying it's a very drastic maneuver that Sarkozy's been undertaking to drift so far to the right, that it contradicts our social values. There we see it on the front page. It contradicts our political values and the values of Gaullism. It's a kind of, and I should just explain that Gaullism is a kind of traditional conservatism which the people of the kind of the right and the center right have stuck to for generations, and to see Sarkozy drift to the right and actually start to pursue the Front National votes in terms of talking about immigration a lot. Bayrou says it's an obsession now with immigration, obsession now with Schengen and the borders, and so it's dismayed a lot of people, not least this guy Bayrou, who is a key vote actually as far as a lot of people in the left are concerned, because if we see the far right, they're willing to support, some of them are willing to support Sarkozy, while the left, the socialists, have been looking for some of the drifting votes from the first round as well.
Okay, and just very briefly, Libération as well, covering a story about the man who was once, of course, perhaps a possible presidential contender, Dominique Strauss-Kahn.
Yes, and it was interesting because the other night in the Wednesday night debate, Nicolas Sarkozy made a brief mention of Dominique Strauss-Kahn, as though to remind the viewers of the debate that, this is a man who could have once led your party. I think he just wanted to fledge up the ghost of Dominique Strauss-Kahn. Now, what's happened now is the judges investigating the various cases of an alleged prostitution ring have actually just added yet another charge, a possible charge that they're going to investigate. These aren't charges that have been filed yet, but they're investigating now possible rape, which only adds to a ever-thickening file, unfortunately, for Strauss-Kahn.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much indeed, Kyle, for that quick roundup of the papers just ahead of this weekend's presidential election. Time now for a reminder.